Well, hello guys. It's Donna again from Flavors with a Twist. And how are my flavor twisters doing today? I hope that you're doing well. What we're going to do today, flavor twisters, we are going to make some delicious sirloin steak beef tips in an onion and mushroom gravy. And in front of you are all the delicious ingredients that we're going to use. In this measuring cup back here, I just have some vegetable oil because I buy my oil in the big jug, so I didn't want the big jug sitting on the table. I have some Worcestershire sauce. In this cup, I have 3 cups of water. 4 cups of water in this measuring cup. And I added 4 teaspoons of better than bouillon beef base. I have some mushrooms, fresh mushrooms already sliced. I have 1 whole medium onion sliced. I have some butter. I have 1/4 cup of flour. And I have our delicious beef tips. I will show you in a minute how I took the sirloin steak and I prepared it for the beef tips. Also, in this container, I have a teaspoon of onion powder, teaspoon of garlic powder, teaspoon of seasoning salt, and a teaspoon of black pepper. So, what I'm going to do is pour this over the meat, and I also have some butter and 1/4 cup of flour. I don't know if I mentioned that. So what we're going to do now, guys, we are going to take the beef tips, and we're going to pour the seasoning over the beef tips. And what I'm going to do is mix this together. And we're just going to season our beef tips before we cook them off. Okay. I don't know if you can see this or not. Let me move the camera. There we go. I'm just a stirring, you can't see nothing. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is sprinkle this over the beef tips for seasoning. And we're going to mix that up. This is going to be so good, guys. And you can serve this over noodles. You can serve it over mashed potatoes, or you can serve it over rice. And I think I'm going to do rice today. Now, what I want to do also, that 1/4 cup of flour, we're going to sprinkle that over the beef tips. Okay. I'm going to put the rest in. Just want to coat them real well. This is a quick and easy recipe, guys. Okay. Put the rest over. Okay. And that's how we're doing our meat. And what we're going to do now is go over to the stove, and we are going to brown this meat off. Get it started. Okay, before we add the rest of our goodies in here. Okay. Alrighty. Be right back, guys. Okay, guys, I want to show you just exactly how I prepare my sirloin steaks for my beef tips. Okay, now I have 2 sirloin steaks here, and I have them on my cutting board, and I put some plastic down, some saran wrap, and I'm going to tear off another piece and put it on top of that, on top of the steaks, okay? If this saran wrap will work with me here. Sometimes I can pull this stuff right off, and then sometimes it just likes to give me problems. Okay. And what you want to do, just put it on top of the steak. Okay, open it up, put it on the top, And what I'm going to do, guys, if you have a meat mallet or whatever, I use my rolling pin, my wooden rolling pin. And what I like to do is just pound them like this. I like to flatten them out some. And this will make them nice and tender also when you cook them. Okay? They don't have to be too flat, but just flatten them out. Because a lot of times these steaks have lumps in them, like they're not one uniform thickness. So this is why I like to do mine like this. Okay? And that should be good enough. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you how I cut these. Yeah, this is how I like mine. Okay? And I'm going to show you how I slice them up for my beef tips. Okay, I remove the plastic. And I just take them and cut it like this. They don't have to be all one uniform size. A lot of people like to cube them. But me, when it comes to the beef tips, I like mine nice and tender. I like to slice them in nice bite-sized pieces. Now, some people use the beef stew meat. I don't particularly care for that unless I'm making beef stew. And then I'll put it in my pressure cooker, or what you would call an Instapot, and I'll do them that way. And they come out nice and tender. But just doing the beef tips like this, you're going to have to cook that beef stew meat a real long time. And I don't like to do it like that. So, this is how I do mine. They're cut in a cube form, but they're not real thick like the beef stew meat. And if you have a little bit of fat going through it like that, you can just go on and take that off. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to finish cutting these up. And we're going to get to the rest of our recipe. I do have 2 more of these steaks. I have 4 altogether. So I'm going to finish pounding those and cutting them up, and we'll get to our recipe. See you in a bit. Okay, guys, I'm over at the stove, and I'm going to pour about 3 tablespoons of oil in there, in the skillet. And we're going to let this heat, and we're going to sear off our meat. Okay. Okay, guys, let's start adding our meat in. Okay. I got some nice pieces here. Like I said, when you use the beef stew meat, it's a little thick, and you have to cook it too long to get it really tender the way you want it. So you watch the video how I did my steak before. I mean, you know, in order to prepare it. And believe me, your meat will turn out more tender that way. This. Okay. I'm just going to put these in like this. The flour has been sticking together a little, but they will separate. Okay. Alrighty. So what we're going to do is get this started to cooking on all sides, lightly brown. And then we're going to get the rest of our goodies put in here. This is going to be delicious, guys. You're going to love this. And like I said, you can serve it with mashed potatoes, rice, noodles, whatever you want to serve it with. Okay? Here we go. So, let this cook and turn it on all sides until it gets nice and lightly brown. And you see, guys, how it's starting to get lightly brown, and they're separating, so they're not all stuck together like they were when I first put them in. So I'm going to let these go another few minutes, and then I'm going to take them out. About another 2 minutes, this should do it. Because I'm not trying to cook them, I'm just browning them on all sides. Okay. Okay, guys, our beef tips are the way I like them. So what I'm going to do now is remove these from the pan, and we're going to make our delicious gravy. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do, let me turn this fire down. I'm going to take about 3 tablespoons of butter and put in here. Okay. And just about 2 tablespoons of oil. And that should do it. Okay. I just left a little bit of drippings in there. It wasn't that much. So I just left it in because this meat was real lean. It wasn't that much fat on it. Okay. So what we're going to do is make our gravy now. These little bits will come up. Alrighty. Okay, now what we want to do is add, I'm going to take about another 1/4 cup of flour, and we're going to add the flour to this here. Make our gravy. Yum, guys, this is going to be so good. This is going to be delicious. Okay. And just stir it, keep stirring it. If you don't want it to burn, you just want it to brown. Let me turn this up just a little. Okay, there we go. Hope that's enough flour there. I just eyeball it when I make stuff like this. Okay, I'll put just a little bit more because that wasn't a full 1/4 cup. Just a little bit. Okay, about another tablespoon. Alrighty, there we go. I didn't have enough to stir in it. When it comes to gravy, I just eyeball it. I mean, it's hard to really tell what you need, but once you make it enough, you'll know. Okay, now, what I like to do is put my salt and pepper on. Just so I can see it. Because these pepper grinders could be real weird. You think it's coming out sometime and it don't be coming out. Okay. This is how you want it. Now just keep doing this till it gets light brown. Don't have your fire up too high, only on a medium. And then once it gets brown, then we'll start adding our broth and the rest of our goodies in it. Okay. Now you can do it an easier way. You can use browning sauce, but I didn't come up using browning sauce. My mother never used it. We just made our gravy the old-fashioned way. And that's how I like to do it. But do you when it comes to this, guys? Okay, guys, that's good enough. And now I'm going to start adding the broth. Adding the beef broth. Yum. And as you add it in a little bit at a time, stir it. Look at the difference, guys. Yum. Okay. Okay, now I put like 3 cups of that in. I had 4 cups of broth, but I'm going to see what this does. Okay, because once it starts boiling a little, you'll see the thickness. It's going to be nice, guys, nice and smooth. Now what I'm going to do is add some onion and garlic powder to this. Okay, I'm adding in a teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of onion powder. And this is fine onion powder. It's not granulated like the garlic, but it still works. Looks like it can need some more broth. We can use a little bit more broth. I'll probably use a whole 4 cups. And see how it's getting smoother. Yum. Okay. Let this bubble a little. And see how thick it gets. Okay, guys, it's looking good. Now to this, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Yum. Okay. It's going to be good, guys. And remember, the meat has flour on it. I've floured it. So once the meat gets in here and get to cooking, it's going to thicken up even more. So this is how your gravy should be looking. It's nice, but it's going to get thicker. Okay, guys, to this, we're going to add 3/4 cup of heavy cream. Yum. And it's going to lighten up a little, but once the meat get in there, it'll get dark again. So don't worry about that. Let this heavy cream blend all in there. It's going to be so good, guys, and this puts a smoothness to your gravy. So let's bring this to a boil. Now what I want to do is taste this gravy to see how much salt it got in it and pepper. That's delicious. Maybe just a little bit more pepper. I'm not going to add any more salt because it was salt on the meat. And I'll wait until once it starts cooking. Now what we're going to do, guys, is add our beef tips to this. And stir that around. Yum. This is going to be so good. And use a pan that has a lid on it because you want to cover this. Now what we're going to do is add our onion. Because I'm going to let this go for like 45 minutes to an hour. On low, medium low. Because I want the meat to be really, really tender. Okay. This looks delicious and it smells so good. Now put in your mushrooms. And this is an 8-ounce container of mushrooms. But you know how mushrooms do. They'll cook down. Look at this, guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the lid on this for 45 minutes and let this cook. What I wanted to do, come up to a boil first, and then I'll lower the heat. This is going to be delicious. Okay, let it come up to a boil first, and then we'll lower the heat and put the lid on. Okay, guys, now you see it's at a boil, and what I'm going to do is turn this down on like a medium low, and we're going to put the lid on it. And we're going to let this go for 45 minutes, and then I'll check it then to see how nice and tender the beef is. Okay guys, it has been 45 minutes, and look at our beef tips. Don't this look delicious? And look at the gravy, guys. Yum. Let me taste the meat, and I'll see if this is done the way I want it, or if I want it to cook a little bit more. Okay, hold on. Oh, it's nice and tender, but I want mine a little bit more tender. So, leave this on for 30 more minutes, and that will be a total cooking time of 1 hour and 15 minutes. Okay, guys, it has been another 30 minutes, and look at our beef tips. They look delicious. Let me see here. Yum. Look at that gravy. Oh, wow. So what I'm going to do now is dip this up, and you'll see how it looks, and I'll tell you how it tastes. Okay, guys, I'm back, and look at our beautiful beef tips. Let's give it a try. Here go one here. Yum. Guys, they're nice and tender. And this is what you want. After I added the mushrooms and the onions and stuff and the beef, I put it in there, put the lid on it, and then I let it simmer for 45 minutes. To me, they weren't as tender as I wanted them, so I did it for another half an hour. That was a total of 1 hour and 15 minutes. Look at this, guys. And I got it over rice. Oh, wow, this is delicious. So, and I'm sorry about the camera shot, guys. I am literally holding the camera while I was filming this. My arm broke, the tripod that holds my camera, so I literally got to hold it. But this dish is delicious, guys. You see the onions and the mushrooms. Look at that. Make this for your family, guys. And that beef just melts in your mouth. So, this is Flavors with a Twist. My version of my sirloin beef tips. Go to flavorswithatwist.com. YouTubers like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you'll be notified of all the recipes that I upload. So this is Donna from Flavors with a Twist. Bye.